um, programming language, programming matter codes, matter, antimatter. And then I'm reminded, I always go back to my childhood because it's a way that people can identify that, whoa, that many years ago, you remember what you were experiencing then, which means I still have a connection to eternity that I had then that I have now. And I mentioned in a video how a road map, just like arteries and veins that flow through all the circuits in your physical body, your software operating system, then you can think of all the arteries and veins that represent a grid map, okay, or what I call an off-road course, the course that you're on with a magnetic compass, right? Your magnetic compass bearing. I mentioned one time when I was a child growing up, when I was an adolescent, my soul is running this compass as a single pole. So you're running a single magnetic compass pole, right? A single pole, center point of that pole, right? So that, as I knew as a child, the center point of that pole, which is the vortex, which is my heart and my soul, okay, is the center point from which it all comes because I'm experiencing eternity. Okay? That's why I was on fire. Okay? Everything less than that is translated as something that is less than that, wherever we go. And that makes it straight up simple, which means we are the law, the highest law there is. Because now you're experiencing the superconductivity speed of monatomic gold, which is why the Anunnaki stole it off this planet. That's right. And made that little Dyson sphere that Patty showed us once on a couple of the videos that she had put up. Thank you, Patty, for that. But I was reminded of just how simple this is when you get into what's called Fortran. Fortran. Remember, for those that have been to their schools, remember that they used to have the multiple choice questions? And those are simple to... Actually, now we're back into predictive programming. Okay? And so naturally, they monitor and graph all this. Okay? Actually, in real time, the AI is monitoring and modeling your mind. How your mind energy moves in motion to experience what we choose to experience, and the method by which we answer questions that are put before us, like on their exams. So I grew up with true and false. It's either true or it's false. Oh, what if I'm in another place and I'm experiencing something that's different from what this is that is informing me of what I'm experiencing, which means it could also be this. But you're telling me it's this. Now we're into false positives, right? Remember I mentioned about when I was on methadone for pain medication for all the years, and I was trying to get myself off that AI drug because of what it does. Feeds on your density, right? Density, bone density. Now we're back into bones, B1 density, right? Yeah, B1 density, bone density. Why do you think it takes so long for bones? Bones, remember Bones on Star Trek? I know. So this is why, in order to maintain your state of peace, so your water worlds are not in turbulence, right? I keep my mouth shut a lot, okay? And because you don't want to disturb the water. You don't want to disturb the water. It's just like you can see when water's in a disturbant mode, like when you throw a little pebble in. See, when you look at a little pond, for example, and you go, whoa, it's nice and smooth. That water's in a state of peace. It's calm. You can see the calm blue sky, just like yesterday here on the Big Island. Blue skies, mama. Calm blue skies of the Pacific. The Pacific is calm blue, mama. So the water. And then some little boy decides, hey, I'm going to pick up a rock, which is free with choice to do that. Toss that rock into the pond, and you see the ripples, the waves. So you can see by virtue of the action, which is the energy in motion, which is the consciousness that is choosing to pick up a pebble, which is a rock, vibrating. Now, what it's vibrating is now going to vibrate by virtue of the velocity of that little stone or big rock, kerplunk, into that little pond. Remember the little skippers, the little flat stones? Skip it. Like skimboarding on the beach when we used to skimboard at Newport Beach. Yeah. So you're learning how it works by virtue of experiencing how it works. You're experiencing it in the mirror. So you're experiencing how nature works, how energy works in your mirror. Yeah. So the experience is the teacher in the mirror of how energy works based on what? Free will. The energy that we use our consciousness for tetrahedron to experience the next event. On the next event, at the closing of a magnetic circuit moment. And what did it feel to experience that? Whoa, I just learned how it works. The ripple in the waves. I was making ripples in the waves. Wow, the velocity. Wow, the velocity of curved space. Spinning magnets, baby. So I was reminded about true and false. And false positives, like when that doctor said, well, before I can give you another prescription so you don't go through horrific withdrawals, even though I realize you're trying to get yourself off of all this, now that you've gotten yourself down to 1 10-milligram tablet. But we have a law here. We have a rule that we have to follow on behalf of the AI, because this is an AI drug. Okay. So we test you before we give you another one to make sure that you got this AI drug in you. Good little boy, good little girl. Right. So what happens is they tested me one morning and they came back and the doctor said, oh, we didn't find any of that in you. So process that for a second. They gave you a test and couldn't find it. That's right. In my urine. They could not find it in my urine. And yet I took it all right. How does that work? Why couldn't their testing machine through the AI find it? Right? I'll leave that one for the day. And then it came back a few days later because they had to send a blood sample out to see if they could find it. And a state registered, the permit, register for permits, registered. Remember Patty talked about they were operating here without a permit or what's called a title. Now we're back into registration titles of automobiles. Remember, they want to own everything. They want to own the space. They want to own the energy. Own the energy. That's mine. I own it. As a matter of fact, I was using your energy. You as a soul, I was using your energy so that I can own you. Really, that's what they do. That's what an inverter does. It believes that since you're the source of energy upon which it becomes what it is aware of in energy is by virtue of us, and then it comes after us to double dip us. Double dip. Yeah, we want more from you. So we're going to send you a bill, which is known as a be ill. Be ill because out of fear, you're going to make sure when you go to a lower vibration that if we don't get any more electrons out of you, you're definitely going to get sick because now you're going to be in a lower vibration. Now the speed with your magnets running is going to be slowed down. Now your circulation library is slowing down. Now your artery and the water worlds are slowing down. Now they're going to get turbulent, trying to push everything out of there that you're experiencing as a result of the stress and the anxiety that the spirit is being tortured. That's what they do. They torture the spirit that's running the central nervous system in the light, which is a living spirit that's in the water worlds. So it's not experiencing a lot of fire, is it? No. Now I'm dependent on them. So they end up becoming dependent on a parasite. And that is not logical intelligence, is it? because it means as long as you're depending on a parasite, at some point that parasite is going to run out of energy, which means now your mind is going to run out of energy. So if you're depending on a parasite for energy because you choose to keep giving it energy, it gets siphoned off. That's an inverter. So they invert everything in order for you to go bye-bye. And that is known as a psychological operation. Because all you'd have to do, like I learned when I was a young man, to go live on the island, and I realized I was being gifted guavas, passion fruit. Whoa, the beautiful rainwater coming down through Mount Waialeale. And when my mother saw me after having only been on that island for 6 months, she said, your eyes, the windows into your soul's eyes, I have never seen you look so healthy through your eyes. What did that island do to you? What did that island do to you? What did that island do to you? Hey, Mama, I was experiencing, Mama, I was being released of all the fiction, all the programming. I was being shown what the truth is because I was experiencing the vortex of my heart when I opened a huge pipe of light where I was experiencing an enormous amount of love that nearly knocked me off my feet. Because I was experiencing that she was giving us everything for free. And this is how it was always supposed to be. What love is, which is what's true, because love is true energy, which is being true, which is what the truth is, because love is the absence of fear, not to tell a lie, but live in the truth, which means it's the absence of fear to tell a lie. So they tell lies because they know that they live in a lie, because they live in fear of what love is. So when they're living in fear of what love is, they're living in a lie. So they're living in a lie, telling us lies because they're not what love is. So whenever the light is exposing the lies, because they're not experiencing what love is, they try and shift the darkness onto our light as if the light is the liar, when in fact it is the darkness that is experiencing what they are in darkness, that is living in fear of what light is because they haven't cleared all the dark essence, or if you will, what's been held in memory, which is the resistance they're experiencing in their software, because it hasn't been cleared yet by purified light with an enormous amount of fire to experience what we are, which is what love is, which is the truth. Now we know what's true. We know what's true because we're experiencing the light in them that is being experienced in them, that we're now experiencing us, what love is. And so we knew, or we know what love is, which is the truth. So we know that love is creation energy. So we know that it began with what we're experiencing when we're experiencing what love is, because now we're experiencing the truth. So love tells no lies. And the reason is simple enough. It's unnecessary. Because you're experiencing eternity in your own heart and soul, from whence creation began through us, in order for us to keep gifting love forever, because that's the gift that we are, that flows through us, that we share with all of you. So that means as a child, I'm not required to believe anything, because I'm experiencing what's true, which is what love is. So love has the free will spirit to choose what we want to experience next, that might have nothing to do with what you're experiencing, which is what you believe is true. So if you are experiencing what you believe is true and you're experiencing what love is, then you and I are experiencing what love is, which is what the truth is, because love tells no lies. What do you want to experience next? A beautiful world that's on fire, so we can experience what the law is, to experience what the love is together, through healing each other, through all the others that have ever suffered any trauma or a loss of a fractal or the loss of a fragment of a soul. Now you can put this through the blender or the ninja or the spin rotation of a magnet to experience the truth and know that any unit of consciousness that is holding a soul consciousness unit of energy captive is against the law, no matter what name you want to label or attach to that unit of energy or seated races upon which they use their energy to break the law, to hold soul consciousness captive, which is called a broken arrow. And that's why they are on a collision course with some person, some place, or something in which they're not in harmony, they're not in peace, they're not in love with all the others, because they do not experience being what love is with all the others, which is gifting love to the all creation equal unto all creations. Yeah.